This is the Modelbex HO scale model of the SNCF 231H. It's one of the ETAT Pacifics, built after the First World War under the Public Works Act. They were a modified Paris-Orleans Pacific with improvements to fuel efficiency and power, and a class of 404 were eventually built. They were spread all across northern France, so Alsace-Lorraine had some, Est had some, the Nord had one, the Paris-Orleans of course, and the ETAT and, well, the western region in SNCF, which is where this particular loco was based. So this was shedded at Dieppe and operated in the west region from Paris out to the Brittany Peninsula and the Atlantic ports. This is the two-rail analogue version of the loco. The construction is like a brass kit, so brass sheet, roll boiler and castings. You can see how thin the smoke deflectors are. Fittings are all soldered in, so everything is straight and true. You've got the metal valve gear, metal reversing rods here, the feed water heater, there's the pressure vessel there. On the front of the cab you can see the ventilation holes, and particularly around the window area you can just see how thin the cab walls are. Really beautifully done. It's a nicely detailed cabin there as well. Reel coil in the coil area. You've got the hoop, it's basically a warning that there may be overhead catenary. On the rear you've got NEM 363 wedge style kinematic, so that will hold a coupling that's in the stairs bag. The coupling there has got the wedge fitting on the end, which means that you can have a very small fitting so it doesn't impede the rear bogie on the tender. This is a Fleischmann Profi coupling that we also stock that has that fitting, so you have choices on couplings. This is what they call a universal coupling. It will actually couple to the hoop couplings, the D couplings as well. It's very similar to the Trix style, Trix Marklin group. In the parts bag, if I bring it over, bits over here, there is a screen here which is the catenary protection screen. Goes behind the cab roof there. It's very vulnerable, so they haven't fitted it, and I'd probably recommend not fitting it. That's there. And this is also a 3-link coupling to go on the rear. So if you're putting it in a display case, then you can fit the screen and the coupling. I probably wouldn't fit them if you're intending to run it on a layout. Talking about running, I've got it on analog mode. There is a switch under the tender, so it gives you a choice between DCC and analog. On analog mode it's very direct control. Usually when I deliver these things I have them left switched to DCC, so they can go on either system. And it just gives you some protection, because you don't want to put it on analog mode and put it on DCC, you could do damage. So if it's left on the DCC position it will also run, so I'll show you that in a second. Look at the underside of the loco. Here on the tender is the switch. I've put it all the way across into DCC mode. If you put it all the way to the back then it's in analog mode. It's also nice to look at the construction. Bottom of the chassis there. The bogies and the chassis are die cast to give them weight. The loco can be run through the decoder. I've put it onto DCC mode and I'm driving it on analog, perversely. What you find is that the decoder is metering the power. So you have a slightly different noise from the loco. And the drive is slightly delayed. So it powers up the decoder and then the decoder meters out the power to the motor. So, but one benefit of driving it through the decoder is it actually uses the decoder acceleration values. So I've put the throttle up to full speed, but it will still accelerate according to the settings on the decoder. As I say, I deliver them set to DCC, so if they're accidentally put onto DCC power, there'll be no problem. If I delivered them set to analog, then it could be an issue if you put it on DCC by accident. Now I've got the loco on DCC power, address 3, and obviously you've got control of the lights. The decoder is a Lock Pilot 5, non-sound decoder. But you can program up all the inertias if you wish. There is a sound version of the loco available at the moment. So it's a really beautiful model of a loco that hasn't really been available except as a kit before now. And quick look at this side. Oops. Petroleum lamps there. The coal. Beautifully delicate cab. Real Edwardian look about it as well. It's a stunning creature. The minimum radius is 420. I would recommend a little bit higher than that, go up to third radius. It's really tight on 420, and things get a little bit close with the fall plate between the loco and the tender.